when we are complaining and we are being ungrateful, he has the power to take away that thing, whatever it is, that life, that breath that you have, the fact that you can speak. He can take that away from you at any moment because he gave that to you. He gave you the voice to be able to speak. So if we're not cognizant about it and we're being whiners and complainers, it doesn't sit well with God. I don't think that's what he wants of us. We really need to be careful in these situations and when it comes to our lives and seeing how good we have it, because there's so much good that we have that so many others really wish they had. Welcome back to my channel here. Thank you so much for connecting with me. If you are new here, on this channel, I talk about finances, relationships, inspiration, family, and all things life. I love to learn and grow with you. So if you are new here and you love to learn, you are in the right place. But before we get into the content here, do me a favor and subscribe to my amazing channel and turn on that notification so you get notified when I post future videos. And guess what? It is absolutely free. Today, we are talking about gratitude and generosity. I love these two words because they're so powerful and they're so amazing in every way. And I really want us to explore these words today because it means so much to who we are as a person, okay? Today will be kind of like a story time and information session. So let's get excited and let's get right into it. To get started here, I want to say this to you. Instead of a grumble, find a gratitude. Be able to find gratitude in every situation, and that makes all the difference. So let's talk about gratitude today. Gratitude and generosity, what does it really mean? Let's dive into it. These two words really go together because it really has to do with how we feel, what we give outside of from within us, and what comes from outside of us, okay? So gratitude and generosity, they work hand in hand and they help to strengthen each other. So let's look at gratitude. Gratitude, in a sense, really means being thankful for what we have, what exists outside of us, right? And if you really think about it, everything that we possess, it wasn't generated by us alone. There's always an outside force. There's always something or someone that is connected to you that was able to help you make that happen. So think about in a situation where, people say, you hear a lot of times people say, I got rich by myself. I did it on my own. I built this house on my own, or I gained this wealth by myself. Well, can you really do it by yourself? And I truly believe the answer is no, because I really believe in the phrase, no man is an island. So if you want to get somewhere, you always have to get there with an external force, with an outside influence that is going to help you get to where you want to get to, right? There is no I in team. The whole idea of I, me, and mine doesn't really exist when it comes to gratitude, when it comes to what we have achieved, what we own, and what we have outside of us. Because again, everything, if you really take a deep look at life in general, none of it primarily has to do with us alone. Looking at the point of not focusing on the I, the me, and the mine, I want to share with you a personal story that I think can help us truly understand the whole idea of gratitude and generosity. And that story really, again, like I said, it's a personal story. So it has to do with me and my child, right? So let's look at this as a little story time and an education time, because we are going to learn from this. So I take my son to Chick-fil-A to get him some fries and chicken nuggets. So he goes ahead and make his order, right? Well, at that time, I didn't make an order for myself, so I just ordered for him and we left. He had his fries while he was eating and I reached over to take some fries. Well, he didn't like that. He got upset and he's like, no, I can't have it, it's mine. He started to have a tantrum. When I first reached over, he really didn't say much. He just said no. And I was like, okay, I didn't say nothing either. So I reached back over. Then he flipped out. No, it's mine. And he's going off having this tantrum. And I'm thinking to myself, what? Like, are you serious right now? But hey, he was in his feelings. He didn't want to share his fries in that moment. And I'm like, okay. I stopped. I let him be. And I had to recompose myself. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm thinking to myself, did he just refuse for me to have fries? Like, I really didn't, want all of his fries. I just wanted to try it, So I was like, okay, fine. So anyway, so I started to think about this situation, this moment that just happened. I had to think about it. So I'm driving home. I'm having all these thoughts going through my head. And really, the most important thing that kept coming back to me was I need to teach my child how to be unselfish. And I think in that moment, that's exactly what really played out there. He needed to learn how to be unselfish because in that moment, he wasn't thinking about it. He was just thinking about mine. It's all about me. It's mine. He didn't care about anything else. So learning how to be unselfish was really key for me in that moment. And I needed to make sure that he understands that. And for him to understand that, I need to explain that to him or teach him. But in that moment was not a good time to do that. Because again, he might be focused on eating his food. He might not be quite listening. He might not be fully prepared to understand the lesson in it. And he probably just might still be upset that I'm trying to eat his fries. That moment wasn't a good time. So I needed to process it all and find a good time that we can really sit and talk about it where he's going to grasp it all and make sure it have an impact. Make sure the information sticks and the lesson is learned. So that was my goal. So I'm driving home. I'm having all these thoughts. And I'm like, okay, he needs to learn to be unselfish. But how does that relate back to just life in general, our creator, and what he really expects of us? In that moment, I realized that those 3 lessons are what really God wants us to learn so that we could be generous with other people. First, I believe God wants us to know that he is the source of everything that we have. Without him, we are nothing. We really even wouldn't be alive without God. He is our creator. He is our maker, our source of everything we have and everything we are. We are to really, really take that into consideration. If it weren't for him, we would be nothing. That's why we are to give all the thanks and appreciation to him each and every day of our lives. Because there are people who really would love to be here today and they are not. There are people who really would love to have what we have and they don't have it. There are people who are not as successful, not as happy, and just not as content with their lives as we are. Being grateful, showing gratitude is really important when it comes to our lives, when it comes to who God is to us. We are to give him all the credit. That's the first lesson, and that's the connection that I really was able to make in that moment. And I'm truly grateful that that was placed in my heart, because I don't think it just came to me. God showed me that. God allowed that situation to happen so that I can understand that, hey, this is really what he wanted of me and of us as humans, as his children, so that we are mindful, we are conscious about the things that we do on a daily basis. The second thing I realized in that moment was that he gave us life, he give us everything we have, and he could take it away at any moment if he wanted to. Or matter of fact, he could double it because he has the power. Going back to my kid, that really could have been the case. I could have taken those fries away because I had the power to, or I could have bought him more. But you see, in life, when we are not grateful, when we don't show gratitude, it takes us away from seeing the reality of a situation. It takes us away from seeing the good that happens to us and for us. I want us to be mindful of that because, again, God is our creator. He's the source of everything. So when we are complaining and we are being ungrateful, he has the power to take away that thing, whatever it is, that life, that breath that you have, the fact that you can speak. He can take that away from you at any moment because he gave that to you. He gave you the voice to be able to speak. So if we're not cognizant about it and we're being whiners and complainers, it doesn't sit well with God. I don't think that's what he wants of us. We really need to be careful in these situations and when it comes to our lives and seeing how good we have it, because there's so much good that we have that so many others really wish they had. And the third point I want to make here is that God doesn't really need your money. He doesn't. He just wants us to learn to be unselfish and to develop our faith. He wants us to be unselfish in everything we do. It doesn't matter whether small or big. God wants us to understand that He loves us unconditionally, and He wants us to be able to show that love to others as well by first and foremost being unselfish. God really wants us to acknowledge all of this on a daily basis and just be able to share, be able to give back, be able to love your neighbors as yourself, as He stated in His word, right? We really are to be cognizant of these things. They might be things that may seem simple, but we don't do it enough. We don't do it to the point where it's a part of us. Every now and then you might do it, but it's not consistent. But we have to live it. It has to be part of our everyday lives. It has to be part of our being. And once it's a part of us, we are able to share that with our children. We are to share that with our loved ones. Our children are able to see it in us and be that as well. Because what they see us do, that's exactly what they're also going to do. That's exactly what they're going to emulate. So make sure you are exhibiting those positive behaviors, those unselfish behaviors, those attitudes of gratitude. And let our children see it in us so that they themselves can be able to practice that. And so that is exactly what I decided to teach my son. That is exactly what I wanted him to learn, and I made sure he learned that. So when we got home, we settled in, he finished eating and everything, we had a talk. And I shared these same exact points with him, but I was able to break it down to him to his level so that he understands, so that it's not beyond him, not going over his head, so that he truly comprehend the whole lesson in that situation. How did I do that? I simplify it. I applied it to his everyday life. What kids do, what do typical young children do? They play. They play with their peers. They have toys that sometimes they might not want to share. Well, you have to learn to share. You have to learn to really help others, to give to others. You have to learn to be grateful. Just say thank you. Say thank you when you are given something. Say thank you when someone does something for you. Know that that toy or that thing that has been given to you can be taken away at any time. Be appreciative and show gratitude, because it really all comes down to what you exhibit, what people see in you, and how you are as a person. So when you start to deposit those little lessons, those little things into your children, they grow up becoming that. They grow up owning that, and it just becomes a part of them. It's not going to be hard when they're adults. When you start teaching them from little, it's just going to become second nature. I want to encourage you today to really, truly get down to your children's level and teach them those little key important things that is going to help them in life. If you're a churchgoer, if you're a person of faith, it's important for your children to be able to practice having faith. It's important for them to practice being unselfish. It's important for them to practice being appreciative and just saying thank you, just being grateful, because an attitude of gratitude goes a long way, and it's going to help them throughout their lives. Like I said earlier, it starts with you as the parent, because if you don't have an attitude of gratitude, you're not going to be able to pass that on to your child. Whatever your child sees you do, that's exactly what they're going to do. So if you're selfish to people and you're not a giver, and you're not a kind person to others, that's exactly who your children are going to be. They're going to be exactly that. Why do you think that a lot of times, say doctors, their children go on to become doctors? Parents are lawyers, their children go on to become lawyers. If parents are entrepreneurs, most likely their children are going to be entrepreneurs. Whatever seed that you sow in your children, they are going to become that. So it's what you start them with, that foundation that you set for them, they're going to grow into that, and they're going to become better individuals in society because of what you impacted in them. That's very important. With that being said, let me ask you this all-important question. If God were to take everything away from you today, how would you respond? How would you truly respond if everything that you had today was taken away from you? That's a question for you to answer. That's a question for you to ponder on, because no living person today have any idea what's going to happen to them the next minute, the next hour, or the next day or so. None of us know what our life's going to turn out to be. We can only be hopeful, we can only have faith, but we don't have the final say. God has the final say. So because we don't know how our life's going to turn out, we don't know the next second or the next minute, we are to always be grateful in the little things. And God will be able to give us the big things. And even if God were to take everything that you own today from you, I still want to urge you to be grateful in that situation. If you were to lose your job today, be grateful you still have life, you still have the strength, you still have the energy, you still have the mind to go out there and get another job. Be grateful that you still have all it takes, and that is your brain, your mindset, that positive mindset, that go-getter mindset to go out there and pursue more, because all is not lost. If you lose something today, that doesn't mean it's gone forever. You can still get it back tomorrow. It just depends on who you are as a person. Are you persistent? Are you able to keep moving regardless of the obstacles that comes your way? You have to practice that attitude of not backing down, that attitude of not giving up, no matter what life throws at you, because we are going to have those trying times. To become successful, you are going to have trying times. But how do you respond to those trying times? How do you approach it in the moment? That's really all that matters. So again, how are you going to approach that time when that time comes that you are hit real hard? Life hits you real hard and you may not understand why. You may not comprehend the reason for it. But because you have an attitude of gratitude, because you have a no backing down attitude, because you have an attitude of making sure you are continuing to push forward, you will be able to get through it. With everything that we have to go through in life, most times the things that really stick out to us, the things that really are constantly being replayed in our minds, and we're so focused on it, we're fixated on those things, are the negative things. Negative emotions, those negative things that happen to us, we tend to focus on them more. And that is the opposite of what we should be doing. When those negative emotions come, when we are faced with fear, when we are faced with lack, it's a part of life. But when those things come, they don't have to stay. You have control over them. You have control over your actions, how you respond, and how you deal with every situation. You have the power in your hands. So what you chose to look at and focus on will obviously perpetuate in your life. They will take over your life. And I have found this to be true when it comes to gratitude. The more you chose to focus on gratitude, the more it will show up in your life even more. The more you will start to see more things to be grateful for. You find yourself operating in that mindset more naturally because that's what you're focused on. When you're focused on the negative, that's what's going to keep coming back to you. That's what's going to take all of your attention. But gratitude on the other end is exactly what you need to be focused on, because that's what brings life. That's what brings gratefulness. That's what brings out the true you, and you being happy, you being fulfilled. Gratitude is what keeps you fulfilled. It's what makes you happy. It's what makes you to be content. When you are grateful, you are content with what you have. When you are grateful, you see the good in every situation, and it's just going to come naturally because that is your focus. Giving thanks is really a choice. There are people out there who chose not to be thankful, not to give thanks. I'm sure you know some of them, and you see how their lives turn out. It's not for the good. So we don't want to be those people. We don't want to live in that kind of mindset, in that kind of space. We want to be intentional about being thankful. We want to set our minds to make sure we are giving thanks at every point in our lives, at every moment. Be thankful for the little things. Be thankful in the good and the bad. Because a lot of times when we say being thankful, we're thinking, oh, I'm just going to be thankful if this thing happened for me. If this good thing happened in my life, that's when I'm going to give thanks. We are to give thanks at all times. When there's a low or when there's a high. When there's a good or there's a bad. When there's tough times or when there's happy times. We are to be grateful and thankful for it all. When we are thankful in the little things, God is going to be able to give us the big things. God cannot give you the big things when you're not thankful for the little things that you have. We have to be thankful when we have little, and the more you're thankful when you have little, the more God is going to keep blessing you. He's going to keep giving you those things that you're asking him for, those things that you need in your life. Sometimes may not even be things that we're asking for, but God knows your heart. God knows what you need at every given time. So he is going to give you just that or more. But you have to have a thankful heart. When we are thankful for the small things, it turns what we have into enough. And it allows us to acknowledge, to celebrate, and to embrace the good. So gratitude, in a sense, really helps people to refocus on what they have instead of what they lack. It might sound unrealistic to some people at first, right? Why should I be grateful for not having anything or not having much? Well, if you put yourself in this mental state, it grows stronger with use and with practice. If you are lacking and you are focusing on being grateful for just having life and just being able to live and see the good in the little things around you, it becomes stronger. That gratefulness, that it comes with ease. And it becomes stronger because you're constantly being grateful. You're constantly practicing gratitude, and it just becomes a part of you. And it just turns into the good. It really manifests into the good things that you really truly need in your life. With that, I usually like to say my gratitude enables my generosity. So a joyful giver has a joyful life. If you give joyfully, it just shows in your life. Your life becomes joyful. It makes you happy. It makes you to be content, and you are more than likely to show up as that person. Let's look at some ways to cultivate gratitude on a regular basis in your life. The first thing I want us to look at when it comes to cultivating gratitude is to write a thank you note. You might be wondering, how? What does that mean? What's the essence of that? Well, you can make yourself happier and nurture your relationships with another person by writing a thank you letter, or express like an email or so, expressing your enjoyment and appreciation for that person and the impact that they have on you. Send it to them. Or better yet, deliver it and read it in person if possible. That makes a huge difference. There's so much power in that. And if you don't do it, you will never understand. You will never be able to experience that. But once you do it, you will see the joy that it comes with. I want to urge you to make it a habit by sending at least one gratitude letter a month. I mean, let's be real. Whatever works for you. And when I say that, I mean in the sense of as far as writing versus texting. So if you're comfortable texting, because I know we spend a lot of times on our phones, and people tend to read text messages faster nowadays and things like that. So it's okay. Whatever is comfortable for you, whatever is more convenient for you, go ahead and do that. If you need to send out a text message, try to be as detailed as possible. Just give it your all. Put yourself into that message. And when that person read that message, let that person really feel you in that message. It makes a huge difference. Like I said, if you need to send that text message, go ahead and do that. If you can send a letter, go ahead and do that. If you can do it via email, that's also great. But I want you to get into the habit of that. And matter of fact, once in a while, write a gratitude letter to yourself. I'm actually due for one because I think I need it in this moment. I need to remind myself of who I am. We are to be grateful for ourselves, how far we've come, what we've achieved, and who we are versus where we were before, who we've become now. We are to acknowledge that and be grateful. Remind yourself about the journey, and it will help you to keep moving forward. It will help you to stay in sync. Another thing you can practice is to thank someone mentally. You may not have the time. You might have a busy life. You may not have the time to write a letter or text a person, or you just might not have access to that person at the moment. But if you realize and you feel the need to thank that person for something they've done for you in some way, shape, or form, they've had an impact on your life, thank them mentally. It might just help to think about the person, and they probably have done something nice for you. Just think about them and mentally thank them. Think that individual mentally. It will help you in your journey when it comes to practicing gratitude. Next, I want you to get into the habit of keeping a gratitude journal. Again, it could be as simple as writing down or sharing with someone the things that you're grateful for on a daily basis, the gifts that you receive, the impact that people have had on your life. Each and every day, write that down. How grateful you were. What were you grateful for that day? Write it down. It makes a difference as well when it comes to your gratitude journey. Count your blessings. That's another thing. Pick a time during the week, one day or so, a few minutes, just to write down what you are grateful for. Those things that you have been blessed with. Reflecting on what went right and exactly what you have been grateful for. Write it down. It might help to pick a number. You might want to say, listen, I want to write down 3 blessings today. I want to write down 1 blessing for today. It's okay. Just make sure you are specific as to how many blessings you want to write down, and you want to make sure you are feeling all the feels. How does it make you feel in that moment about something good that happened to you or for you? You want to feel that and be able to write it, because it helps to actually feel it. When you feel it, that means it hits deeper. You're getting down to the core, down to that core of appreciation that your mental really needs, that you really need in your life. Feel that, be specific about it, and write it down. That's really the key points that I wanted to share with you today. To end this video here, I would like to say to you, when you can still be grateful when you're going through hell, and that you have life and you have an opportunity to try again, that you have other moments to make it right, and you have those chances that you can take to just make sure that you are being a better version of yourself, it makes all the difference. I really want to encourage you today to never give up, to keep striving, to keep being grateful and be thankful and count your blessings, because they are truly what got you to where you are today. If God wasn't there for you, if God didn't do the things that he have done for you throughout your life, you wouldn't be where you are today. Whether good or bad, I still want to urge you to be grateful for it all. When you are grateful, God gives you more. God changes your situation from the bad to the good, because it can't always be bad. Come on now. It cannot always be bad. When you have a grateful heart, it cannot always be bad. There's going to be obstacles. Those obstacles are going to come and go. There's going to be good times and bad times in your life. They can't always be bad, and unfortunately, they cannot always be good. But when you are dealing with these different moments in your life, how are you responding to it? Are you being grateful? Are you being selfish? Are you being a complainer? Or are you just taking it all in and having a positive mental attitude? Thank you so much for your time today. I love that you're connecting with me here and you are being part of this amazing community. Let's continue to connect, share your thoughts and feedback on this topic. I would really love to hear from you. How are you grateful? How do you approach the whole idea of gratitude and generosity? How do you approach that? How does it apply to your life or you as a person? Share your thoughts in the comment section and share exactly what you're grateful for today. I would love to hear it, and I can't wait to interact with you, and let's learn and grow together here. That's all we're about here. Thank you. Thank you so much. And remember to always be your best self. Keep that smile, keep the love going, and just stay positive. To end this video here, I want to ask you another big favor. I probably asked this already, but I think you can do that for me because it's so simple. Please subscribe to my channel and turn on your notifications so you get notified when I post future videos here, and it really helps my channel. Like I always say, I love to learn and grow with you here. So continue to connect to this great community that we've built here, and with your help, we can make this bigger and better. So let's continue to stay tuned, stay plugged in, and let's make this a reality. Let's keep it going. Let's connect with each other. Give me your feedback. Tell me your thoughts on this subject today, and let's continue to grow. Continue to be the best version of yourself. Keep striving for that because it never ends. When you get better, you want to keep getting better. So let's do that. Let's keep getting better together, okay? Thank you so much, and be blessed.